I mean, it's 5 ingredients. It doesn't get more straightforward than that. Hey friends, I hope that your week is off to a great start. Today, I'm going to be attempting a whole roasted chicken. So this is something that I've surprisingly never done before, even though I eat chicken pretty much every single night of the week. The main reason for that is that I always equate a whole chicken with a whole turkey from Thanksgiving, and that makes me think that this is going to take 3 to 4 hours. It is probably going to be dry, so it's just really not worth the effort, and I just stick to chicken breasts or buying a rotisserie chicken from the grocery store. However, Bon Appetit published a list of their readers' favorite recipes and their staff members' favorite recipes, and this no-fail roast chicken appeared on both of those lists. So I'm taking that as a really strong recommendation from Bon Appetit that I should try this chicken recipe today, and that's what we're gonna do, so let's see how it goes. I'd like to give a special shout out to Jazzy the Baker for watching, commenting, and subscribing. If you'd like a shout out in a future video, leave a comment below letting me know what you'd like me to test next. So I've made this recipe a total of 5 times now, and the size of the bird is so critically important to having this recipe come out right. The recipe says to use a 3 to 4 pound chicken, and they are completely serious here. When you get over 4 pounds, you need to add like an extra 10 to 15 minutes onto the cook time. And it really does make a very noticeable difference in the overall juiciness and moisture level of the finished chicken. When it comes to getting a nice brown and caramelization on the skin, moisture is your enemy here. So you want to use paper towels so that you can just throw them away, but you need the skin of this chicken to be bone dry. So I'm making a couple incisions here just through the loose skin that connects the leg to the breast meat. So you're not really cutting through meat here, it's just loose skin. What you want to do is cut down all the way to the hip joint, and this is going to allow the legs to just kind of splay open, and it gives you more cooking surface exposed to the heat of the oven. I know a lot of times people are a little bit afraid of over seasoning their meat. But I would say the one rule for seasoning this chicken is to not be afraid of over seasoning. So be very, very generous with the salt. Get it all over the skin of the bird. Get it inside the body cavity. Put it between the legs where we cut the skin. And then you're going to go back and repeat that with the black pepper. So salt and pepper are the only flavors we're adding directly to the bird. So it's really important to be very generous with the flavor. For the black pepper, my recommendation would be to crack about 2 teaspoons of black pepper into a container. Every time I touched the bird, I had to wash my hands before handling my pepper mill to avoid cross-contaminating everything. So it was just a lot of hand washing breaks, and it kind of slowed down the process a little bit. So if you crack your pepper in advance, it'll just speed the process up a bit. The recipe calls for 4 tablespoons of butter, and it sounds like a lot, and it actually is. So each time I've made this, I've reduced the amount of butter, so you can really get by with just 2 tablespoons. And this is the finished product. Alright, so the chicken is out of the oven. I let it come up to 162 degrees. I figured the last 3 degrees would be some carryover cooking. So then I let the chicken rest for 15 minutes in the skillet under aluminum foil, and then I carve the chicken. So this is what the carved chicken looks like. So the skin has a nice brownness to it. As I was cutting the chicken, it looked incredibly juicy. So I'm going to cut into it, have just 1 bite, because this is actually my dinner tonight. So I'm just going to show you what it looks like, and then I'll come back after I eat my meal. So I'm just cutting off a piece here. Super juicy. It's, I mean, falling apart. It's really buttery. A little bit of lemon flavor in there, not a ton. The chicken is really flavorful. The salt and pepper on the skin is so crucial because, I mean, that's really the only flavor that's going directly onto the chicken. The garlic and the lemon are kind of just aromatics. So actually, I'm gonna have 1 more bite. Really good. Super, super juicy. It's not dried out at all, which was my concern, because my chicken breasts, whenever I cook them, are always a little bit on the dry side. Perfectly cooked, super satisfying. So overall, I'm really happy with how this no-fail roast chicken recipe turned out. It was incredibly juicy and surprisingly flavorful, especially for how few ingredients were used. Plus, the process was very hands-off. Once it was in the oven, it was kind of free time to do whatever you need to do. So make a side dish, do some laundry, the world's your oyster. So I will definitely be making this again. I was really satisfied with how it turned out. And if you're in need of a roast chicken recipe, this is the perfect one to start with. Just 5 simple ingredients. It doesn't get more straightforward than that. So I really hope that you found this recipe test useful. If you did, please be sure to give me a thumbs up and click subscribe, because I'll be releasing new Bon Appetit recipe test videos every single Wednesday all year long. I'll see you next week.